Now that I am 6 months out of ACL surgery, I figured I would enlighten y'all on some things that not a single living soul in the world told me or warned me about that I'd have to go through while rehabbing my knee. I'm putting all of this knowledge out and all of this information out for free.
You're welcome!
These are things that no one brought up, things I'm still salty about, no one told me about. I'm actually so salty that I am marinated. These are 10 things that no one warned me about. So let's get into it. Starting with the injury itself. When you've played a cutting or pivoting or contact sport as long as I have, I learned really fast that an ACL means bye, see you next season. I knew very early on, everyone that tears their ACL, they say they hear a really loud, hard pop. I did not hear a really loud, hard pop, which is, I think, one of the reasons why I didn't think it was my ACL. And just the pain, the scope and the topic of pain in general. My injury was, I've had tattoos that hurt more than my ACL injury. Actually, the nerve block that they gave me during surgery hurt more than my actual injury. But the lack of extreme pain the moment that the injury happened, and the injury itself, I wasn't really, prepared for what I thought it was gonna look like. Hey, call me naive, but I always attributed a really drastic season-ending injury to a horrific, dramatic, violent collision, not aware of the fact that most ACL injuries, not all of them, but most ACL injuries are non-contact injuries. My injury was a non-contact injury, which is why I was also confused that it was my ACL. And like I said, I did not hear a pop. What I heard instead, and actually I want to replicate this sound for you. You need some sugar snap peas, okay? Is you take a sugar snap pea and you kind of cut into it like this. I want you to think about that the next time you eat sugar snap peas. You're welcome. Yeah, no one told me that I was gonna have the worst injury of my life without even being touched. The second thing that no one warned me about is that how Bring Me to Life by Evanescence would suddenly become the new theme song for my quads.
Wake me up inside!
No one warned me that I was gonna spend the first 4 weeks of rehab screaming at my quads and them screaming back for someone to wake them up. The third thing was that I got a blister on the underside of my left foot the days following injury because I was just hopping on my left foot, just having to balance so much on my left side, ended up resulting in a blister. Why not? The fourth thing, immediately out of surgery, when you're starting your rehab, you're not starting from level 0, you are starting from level -50. I thought that the first thing I was going to learn to do in rehab was just to get up and walk again. Oh no, you have to backtrack 50 steps because you have to get your muscles to wake up and think about walking again before you can actually walk again. And it's dehumanizing and embarrassing in the most offensive and hurtful and just unjust ways that no one ever really called for. Being reduced to things that are like insultingly remedial, not just remedial like step 1 and 2, but insultingly remedial, like level -500, and then maybe in a few weeks you can get to level 1 and 2. Wanting to do a really simple movement, but before you can do the simple movement, you have to dissect the simple movement into like 50 different steps, just working through it one step at a time, one piece at a time, for just something so easy. And it's offensive, and this plays into the mental health aspect and how your mental health gets dragged through the dirt from day 1, and that's something I want to go into at another time. But you feel like you lose pieces of yourself with every single thing you can't do. And at the beginning of this recovery, the list of things you can't do is a list that's like 10 scrolls long. And everything you can't do makes you feel very subhuman, like you're not even a real human. It took me 4 weeks 4 or 5 weeks just to sit in a chair normally, which also meant I wasn't eating normally. It took me 6 weeks just to be okay with standing up in the shower again. It is a literal war zone just to do basic human things that you need to do just to stay alive, like to get dressed every day, to bathe, to walk, to shower, to use the bathroom. No one warned me about just how tough that was gonna be. The fifth thing, the sleeplessness. It's so tough because you're so tired all the time because your body is working overtime to heal a ligament that you're gonna need to use every single day. I'm a very light sleeper. I wake up for a mouse fart. Sleeping is uncomfortable because your knee is uncomfortable, the brace is uncomfortable. So not sleeping, yeah, this recovery is really exhausting. The sixth thing is how much you miss just the little things of being alive and being a human. Just being able to carry things, being able to go places, walking normally. You start to miss going to the bathroom normally without having to prop your entire leg on something. That gets old so fast. Bathing normally, socializing normally, how much you miss being a real person. The seventh thing that no one warned me about is how much I would suddenly hate winter. I don't mind winter. I like when I get to be an adult and I still get snow days as an adult, like that's awesome. But I have hated and dreaded winter like I've never hated and dreaded winter before because there's snow and there's ice on the ground, and that's scary even without a bad knee. You fear the slipping and tripping and falling. The world just seems so big and scary now, especially in the winter where you could trip and fall because you have a bad knee. The eighth thing that no one warned me was going to happen is how much of a fiend for bone broth I would become. I probably drank almost my weight in bone broth per week the day of surgery. I wanted the nurses to try to stick me with the IV and tell me,
"There is no blood, there is only broth."
There is no pain, only soul.
The ninth thing that no one warned me about was how annoying I would become, especially watching movies with me. I've now become the worst person to watch movies with because every action sequence that results in an injury or something, I'm like, that heals faster than an ACL. The newest Saw with the eye vacuum trap, that heals faster than an ACL. Bethany Hamilton losing her entire arm and half of her blood in that shark attack, that heals faster than an ACL. The first few weeks of PT, there were people twice my age who had entire hip replacements and knee replacements who were moving faster than me and my torn ACL. The last thing that no one warned me about healing your ACL is the PTSD. Half of me doesn't know why I am surprised that I have PTSD, considering this is a traumatic injury to begin with. I just wish that my surgeon brought it up. I wish that my physical therapist brought it up. It's a part of this recovery that I think is not really talked about enough, and how badly it can affect you. And PTSD also goes back into the mental health aspect that I want to talk about at a later time. But we're gonna end this video on a good note. I have made it to halftime. I have 6 more months to go. I might have 3 or 4 months left of rehab before I might get cleared for sport. And the best part is I got cleared from my surgeon just a week ago. So I hope for better and happier days ahead where I don't have to worry about my knee all the time. So see you later and take care.